Hey, hey, veterans, and welcome to another episode of the Veteran Entrepreneur Show. This is episode 3, and this is actually an exciting episode for us as this is our very first interview that we are going to be putting up on the show. And Steven here is one that volunteered, and I'm glad he volunteered to be on the show for our first interview. Steven, I've known for quite a few months now, and he's always provided some really good value, some good content. Now, I want to give a little bit of background on Steven before we get started on the interview. Guys, anyone that I have on this show is not going to be Joe from the corner. All right. Anyone that I have on here providing you content, advice, is always going to be someone that has the right to provide that content and advice. So Steven has accomplished a lot in his life. He's ran numerous gyms across the world. He's started numerous businesses. He's worked with political figures, famous people, you name it. He's worked with them. And he works with extremely high-level individuals. And I thought, who else better to come on and teach us about networking than the guy who's just connected to everybody? You want to get into Walmart or Sam's Club? Steven's got the connections. You want to, hang out with some political figures? Steven's got the connections. He is a very well-connected individual. And so today, the episode's about your network is your net worth. Steven, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
My absolute pleasure. The inaugural launch. I mean, it's awesome. I'm super proud to be here. Honored to be here. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, man. So can you give us a little bit more of a background than my brief overview? Kind of tell us a little more about yourself.
Well, look, I mean, I think we all sort of fall into our first big thing. I don't know many people actually plan to have their big first coup, if you know what I mean. And that's very much happened to me as well. But I realized in the Army really quick that making myself unique in whatever I do is the key to moving forward. Hey, JD, it's the key to moving forward. And for me, I always found a way to be special. And I think I talked about this with you before. Is being special doesn't mean being different. It means being authentic and staying true to who you are and what you are. And that also means making sure that everyone around you feels great about you. Great about themselves when they're with you. And that's, I didn't know what it was at the time, but I knew that the effect that I had on people when I did that was not only to my benefit, but to everyone's benefit. So when I got out, I just started doing that. And when I meet people, I don't put them in a place in my mind or in my status, if you know what I mean. Like when I met Mick Jagger, he was just a guy who I was talking to. So I don't go there all out of breath and sort of, groupie-like. Mm-hmm. So everything's sort of on one level for me. And I see that as, okay, we're all humans. We can all connect and everyone needs something and everyone knows something the other guy doesn't know. So why should I feel like I'm below somebody or above somebody? And that's just basically how I've lived my life. And that's exactly, I think you see it as well. And we have a completely different lifestyle, you and I, mm-hmm. But I still pay for your private consulting, because you know what I don't know in areas that I don't know about. And I'd be foolish to say, well, because I work with world leaders, I could never, you know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. It's the humility. It's the being open to, I'm not perfect kind of thing. So yeah, go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me ask you this, because you're dressed so flashy. So I want to talk about that. Here I am in my veteran shirt and combat pants, shorts, right? These are shorts, not even pants. And I got some flip-flops on over here. Tell me about, when you're going, you're meeting these people, these big name people, and I want to compliment you, right? Because you're talking about, they're just human beings, and I'm so glad that you said that, right? There's no point in getting like a giddy schoolgirl when you meet someone famous, because they're just really good at their job, like you're really good at yours, right? Well put. Thank you. So let me ask you this: when you're going and meeting these people, the way you're dressed, how does that impact, the first thoughts that these people have about you?
First impressions are everything. We know that. And perception is a reality that you can't influence after it already happened. So that means when someone sees you for the first time, experiences you for the first time, that's their perception. The only way to change that is to have a relationship with this person. So whether it's a communicative relationship, business relationship, whatever it is. But I always say this: be able to walk into any room and allow people to allow you in to their private room, if you know what I mean. And that means, how do I go into a meeting when I want to make sure that I will be seen by everyone, be noticed by everyone, and have everyone want to talk to me? Is that being the sharpest dressed guy in the room? No, it has to do with presence. But let's face it, all of us in the military know the difference when we're in uniform in our Class A's or in our blues or our Marine blues, whatever, and when we're in shorts and a t-shirt, we act different. We feel different, correct? So You walk into a room in your uniform, you're going to be a little bit more proper. The back's going to be a little bit more straight, and you're going to be looking at people and interacting with people a bit differently.
So JD says that's something I've recently realized and implemented. I never put people on a pedestal anymore. That's awesome, JD.
And he proved it by getting that influencer on his side. It's exactly what he did. He went, I'm going to call this influencer. Why should I be scared? He did it. Boom, bang, boom. He's done. He got it. Congratulations, JD.
Yeah, congratulations, man. So, Steve, I kind of interrupted you there. Did you want to finish your thought process, or? Okay.
No, I don't. My thought process never ends, so it's probably better when you interrupt me.
I just want to make sure I didn't interrupt something that you were providing. No. So can you give us a couple of action steps that we can take for those of us that are really trying to connect to those bigger level influencers, the people who could really change our business if they just stood behind our product or supported what we do? Can you give us a couple of action steps to take?
It's funny you say that, because when we decided to talk yesterday, or this morning, actually, my time, you said, give me some points that we can talk about. And I thought about it, and I said, I think the most important thing that ever happened to me is I'm always looking for personal influencers. Now, what that means is, in the old days, it was called someone who was in a position where I want to be, right? Mm-hmm. Now we call them influencers because it's the social media way. So basically my first tip is to say, who's the biggest influencer in your area, the biggest person in your area who you can actually reach out and talk to personally, it's where you want to be. And simply ask them, can you mentor me? And that's the biggest step anyone can take. Why? Because that puts you on the same level as them, that gets you near the level of them, which is where you want to go. And if you don't think you're already there, that's going to help you get there, right? And it's also the beginning of an entire new network. Everyone says if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? So this is the first time where you can actually walk up to someone and say, I admire what you do. You're huge, you're busy, but I just want to get on your coattails for a while and learn what you do, and maybe you could teach me how to do what you do. And no one has ever said no to me, ever. And I've had some mentors that you would not believe, right? And they said, well, I'm shocked that you would say, but thank you very much, because they're not usually mentors. They don't go out and say, hey, I'm a mentor, pay me. They do it for free. They do it free because you take interest in what they're doing. Now, here's a trick. The biggest mistake that people make when they go to mentors, they say, do it for me. Can you do me a favor? How about this? Can you hook me up here? No, a mentor is only about learning. You don't get anything from them. You don't ask for anything from them. You don't ask stupid questions from them. And you don't act like a little girl around them saying, hey, can you hook me up with that over there? Hook it up. No, you're there to learn what they do. That's it. Simple as that. And this is the key point for that. Never ask for favors. Never ask for favors. Always be giving. Always be giving. Alec Baldwin said, and Glengarry Glen Ross, always be closing. I always say, always be giving. So
I want to ask you a question here, because I already know the pushback, right? Because I know the tribe. I've known them for a while now. And here's the biggest thing I've seen in entrepreneurs. And it's not just veterans, it's entrepreneurs as a whole. Everybody's scared to ask for help, right? Like it's an intimidating thing. Whether you're male, female, veteran or not, asking for help is hard because you don't want to ask for something for free. So what would you say to someone that says, yeah, but I'm scared to ask. I don't want to ask for something for free. I don't want to seem like a freeloader or too needy or desperate. I don't want them to look down on me.
Everything we do nowadays is suggestive. Like if I say, let's put it this way. Don't ever defend what you're asking for. Once you defend what you're asking for, you don't look like you're genuine. You look like you're trying to get away from something. You're trying to get out of something. If you walk up and say, look, I would really need your assistance in this because I don't know which direction I can go. Maybe we can work something out where we can help each other. I don't need to say, I can't afford it. I can say that. Let's work out some way where we can help each other. We can be beneficial to each other. We find parallels for each other. And that makes it very clear and very succinct without going into the money thing, because a lot of people don't like talking about it. Me, I don't have a problem talking about it, I say, look, you want 15 minutes? Okay, not a problem. Let's do this. You want it again? You're paying. Simple as that, right? So, or if it's somebody that I know is sort of light on the pocket, I'll help them out even longer because I see a potential in them. And sometimes, like some people in the group, I've spoken to some people 10, 15 times. It's just that I love talking to them,
right?
And I get something out of it every time too, and so do they. So we're cool with that, So you can't be the number one strength that a person can have is humility. That makes you larger than life. That makes you the giant in the room when you're humble. You ask for help, people go, wow, that guy's human. That girl's human. That's what everyone wants. They want to see that human inside of you, that authenticity.
And I love that, man, because you know what's going on right now when we're talking about a physical appearance, because you look extremely fresh right now. What you have right now is people going on like young millennials, 20, 21-year-old. I'm a millennial. I'm 29. I'm still a millennial. But you know, the younger ones, the 20s, early 20s, are going around wearing suits, taking pictures with private jets and their Lamborghinis on the beach. Now, most of them are, you know, renting that Lamborghini from a car rental place. They, you know, asked someone to go on the tarmac and take a picture with their private jet. They didn't really rent the private jet to go to a beach. So when it comes to that, when you're talking about presence, I think that's extremely important, right? It's not just your physical presence, but if you're lying, it will be found out, right? Just in the way that you carry yourself, correct?
Well, that's what they're doing is called marketing now. Like, you know, it's marketing and there's no substance to it. Everything that I talk about is all about substance. The depth that you win is incredible when you work from a humble place. When you work from a humble starting place, the wins, the depth, the girth that you have is just incredible. If I could go to a point too, so the first one was being, you know, find an influencer in your area and attach to them. Don't ask for favors and, you know, seek a successful person. The second thing I would say is be relentless in giving and adding value. So don't hold back and think people are going to steal your ideas or it's going to make you look small or cheap, you know, and this is important, only ever offer advice. And this goes for social media too, to a subject matter that you freaking know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Well, go ahead, because I know you got something to say about that.
Son of a bitch, man. It drives me fucking crazy. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, stop giving advice on it. I am not teaching people how to do SEO because all I know about SEO is what the fucking letters mean. I don't know how to do it, so I'm not telling people how to do it. So I love that you said that, man. I'm so glad that you said that. Stop teaching in things that you know nothing about, giving advice in things that you have no experience in, and talking about fucking theories. Theories is all only people are going to listen to that advice. And you're going to damage someone's business.
And the reason I'm saying this is not because it's a pain in the ass, which it is, but it's because you're taking away from the possibility to build substance. Now, you see me in the group, right? In the tribe, for instance. I'm there, you know, pretty often, constantly almost, because I'm lucky to work from home. And I'm always adding value, but I don't comment on every thread. I only comment on the specific things that I'm good at and what I can add immediate value. And so that keeps me in the front running, so to say, of the influencer. I don't do it to be an influencer; it just happens that way. That's the beauty of it. When you're a giving person, and you only talk about what you're an expert at, you end up being the go-to person, and you seem humble because you're not talking all across the board about, you know, being this and being that, doing this and doing that. You're just doing what you do, and you do what you do good, and that's how you automatically the feedback. Let's say the results of that is being an influencer. And as you probably know, you know, I got, I don't know, rated #2 military entrepreneur influencer in America, which blew me away because I don't even live in America. But, you know, so lucky me. So #3 would be, you know, so #1 was who's, you know, grab an influence in your area and get them as a mentor. Second 2 is be relentless in giving and adding value. #3 is do what you do because you love it and you are the authority. Like I said, you know, do it without expectations. So when you go to a networking, and when we talk about networking, we haven't touched on it much, is the worst thing about networking is everyone goes for one thing. I want to earn money. I want to meet somebody who's going to buy my shit. Excuse my French. Right?
Here's my business card.
Yeah, exactly. It's the other way around. You go to networking if you're like me and you want substance, you want to build authority, and you want to build you know, a reputation. You go with no expectations, and you don't go to get, you go to give. So you greet, you ask, you listen, you ask again. So basically, every time someone asks me, I play it down. So what do you do, Steven? Oh, you know, I do a little bit of consulting and stuff. So you were talking about that point that you were doing in Florida. What was that? You know, so I'm always deflecting back to them. So what that does is it makes them feel, okay, he's very humble. He doesn't, you know, really talk about what he's doing, and it makes them super curious and nosy, right? Mm-hmm. So your demand is raising. The more you talk, the more your demand is raising. #2, he who asks questions leads the conversation. So I can lead them wherever I want them to go when I'm discussing, right? #3 is always introduce the people to anyone who comes into the room or into your circle of influence in that moment, and you elevate them. You know, this is Andrew. He's living the dream. He works in flip-flops and shorts now, in Florida one day and Texas the next day. This is a guy you got to meet. That's how I would introduce you. Now, how would you feel about that? Pretty awesome.
Great. Yeah.
and see, that's what I'm talking about. And did it hurt me? Did it make me look small? No, it made me look fabulous because I'm elevating you. And people want to be around people that elevate others. People want to be around people where they feel good. If you come work with Steven, you feel good. So I want to work with Steven. I want to be with Steven. I want to, it's just a simple fact of life, but it's difficult because we go in there. Okay, I need to make this sale. I need this revenue, or I can't keep my company. That is, I don't want to say poverty mindset, but that's not a winning mindset. Okay, so then, like I said, that was part also number 4. Be the connector. Always be deflecting your answers back to them. If they ask you what you do, just give a little bit of information. Don't be the talker. I'm Steven Kuhn. I live in Europe and I do this and blah, 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 blah. Now, I didn't do that on purpose. I learned that in Europe because no one talks about what they earn or what they do in Europe, period. It's never about what you do. It's about who you are as a person. Yeah.
So I love this. And the reason behind it is I wanted to hit on the desperate subject you just touched on there for a second is, if you're fucking hungry right now, if you're like scared about keeping the lights on, it is the worst time for you to go out to a networking event, because even if you tell yourself, I'm not going to be desperate, I'm not going to be desperate, you're not going to be able to hide it. And people are going to feel it. And you're going to push your services more. You're going to try to close that deal to pay that electric bill or anything like that. And I've been there. And that's why I'm saying it is I'm not hating on them. I have been that moment where I just need to make that one sale so I can keep my lights on. If I don't make that one sale, today, because my lights will get turned off in 3 days, it takes my merchant account 2 days to get into my bank account. So I need to make that sale today, right?
See the detail you're going into. I know you know it. That's way too much detail for someone who's guessing.
Exactly. I've been there many times, and I've been that desperate guy, right? And every time I've been that desperate guy, it's led to no sales. So I love that you hit on that. What I want to do now, go ahead.
Just for that desperation, once that desperation turns into a angry hunger, then go. Because then you're fearless. It's not that, I need you. It's like, you're going to take my service, buddy, because you need it. You know what I mean? It's a whole difference. It's a whole different mindset. Once that turns into, you're turning from the lamb to the wolf, then go.
See, that's perfect. So guys, what I want to do right now is any veterans watching the show right now, I want you to ask questions. Let ask some questions to Steven. I'll pull them up on the screen. I'll read them out to Steven. He'll answer them. So let me know what questions you have. If you're listening to the podcast replay or watching this video replay, you can always come and actually watch the live videos and interact with the guests on the Veteran Entrepreneur or inside Vetpreneur Tribe, the Facebook group. But what questions do we have? While I wait for some questions to come on, I want to show this comment from JD. Couldn't agree more, Don, because Donald gave a compliment to Steven, says Steven is a great and giving individual. JD says, couldn't agree more, Don. I could write a book on how much he's helped in one degree or another. So there's a compliment for you. Try not to let your head get too big there.
I deflated constantly. Don't worry about
it. So we got Russ Noor, who says desperation can lead to success. So I want you to talk on that real quick, Steven. What do you think about what Russ just said here?
Well, it's just like I said, when you're desperate, you won't be successful. But when that desperation turns to anger and you say, you know what? I freaking had it. It's over. I'm standing up and I'm going to go out there and do what I have to do to make this freaking happen. That's where that's when you hit the bottom of the barrel and you know, that's it. I have to go. And that's when suddenly you jump that wall with little effort at all, because you know that you're only holding yourself back. We are the only block that we have. Nobody holds you. Your boss. It's not your boss. It's not your wife. It's not your kids. It's not your car. It's not your broken down girl. It's not. It's you. It's always you. It's always up here. And it's always right here.
See, I love that. All right, guys. So if you have no questions, go ahead and write some questions. And if you have them right now, Steven, real quick, tell us what you have going on in business right now.
Oh man, how do you know where to begin? I'm still working on Gentlemen in Sports. That's the professional soccer player mastermind weekends, where they get a branding, a tax, investment, and focus training for 2 days. It's a mid 5-figure fee to be part of that, and we have I think 3 teams ready lined up to go. That'll be every second weekend or every third weekend in Amsterdam, where I literally walk away with 5 figures a weekend. It's crazy. Sorry, 6 figures. Sorry, 6 figures a weekend. So it's It's incredible. So I'm really looking forward to getting that started. And then, of course, I just spoke to a really interesting person in New York that I've been trying to get a hold of for a long time. Huge influencer in the pregnancy department, women pregnancy department, because she has a concept that she uses for the last 20 years, but it's never been marketed. It's never been talked about, but it saves lives and it's incredible. So I'm gonna think about working with her and start marketing her program. And then, of course, I have my other consulting and my other stuff, like the consulting for the politicians in Europe. One's in Chile right now, and there's some things going in Chile which no one knows about because the press doesn't report on it. So I'm consulting him in, let's say, interpersonal relations, put it that way, on how to deal with the certain things. And like I said, it's always the same thing. It's always, elevate others, listen to them, active listening, and hear what they're saying and react accordingly so that you're always pushing them up and giving them confidence and empowering them to take on their mission the best they can in order to relieve you from being their, let's say, guide.
See? All right, so that's awesome. You can hear in what Steven's saying right now is he's got some massive things going on. He's doing some amazing things in his life, and he always has. And guys, if you don't know Steven, go into Vetpreneur Tribe, reach out to him, get to know him, follow him. This guy does amazing stuff. He's helped a lot of people in the tribe do a lot of great things. I'm going to end with this question here from Troy. He says, so I'm building my network on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Alignable. So don't push sales and just let my posts and photos sell themselves? Is his question.
Okay, LinkedIn and Alignable, I've never heard of Alignable, but LinkedIn and Facebook are completely different. LinkedIn is a platform for professionals who are sick of marketing and all that kind of stuff. They actually have businesses and things like that. And when you go to LinkedIn, you simply say, hi, your name, your business, what your solution is for what you're providing, and would you like to connect? So hi, this is Steven Kuhn from S2K2 Precision Management. I help companies extract cash from already existing structures in your company. Would you like to connect? That's all I say on LinkedIn. Then they answer when you connect, not writing an in-mail. And then when they answer, you just go into a dialogue. As far as Facebook goes, Facebook is like a big fishing net. And if you're lucky, you catch a few, right? You can't sell that well on Facebook unless you have a tribe behind you, like Andrew does. You need to build authority. You need to build a tribe, and you need to add value every single day, post 3 or 4 times a day, make sure it happens. And then once you add enough value, then you can start actually earning some, making some revenue from the group.
Perfect. So I'm going to add on to what Steven just said. If you put the words push and sales in the same sentence, you're doing something wrong. You never, ever, ever push sales. You let an audience know what's available, what can be bought, but you never push sales. Never say, hey, buy my stuff. Hey, you should buy this. Here's like Troy does photography, and he does great photography. So just simply putting up pictures of his photos, and not just his photos, but his photos hanging on a wall with a nice background, with a good solid image, right? If you're a photographer, they need to be high def images. Things like that will help you grow as well. That's my...
Yeah. And statements like, imagine this in your living room, or imagine this in your office, or imagine, just things like that. Like, it's prompting someone to actually have an action. So imagine this picture hanging in your office, or just something like that, or when was the last time you looked up and over your TV and saw the sunset, or something, just something to make people think.
I love that. See, if you had, that's actually a perfect thing to say if you had like a picture of a sunset. Steven, thank you so much for coming on The Veteran Entrepreneur. Thank you for being part of the show. Thank you for being my first guest on the show. I'll go ahead and get this uploaded. If you're watching this replay, go check out Steven Kuhn. Share this video, guys. Steven didn't curse as much as I did, so if you don't have to worry about his language as much as mine. But go share this video and get this in front of other veterans that you know, because even if they're not an entrepreneur, your network has so much to do with your life, just in general basis, and your success. So thank you again, Steven. Any last words for the audience?
My last words is don't go networking to network. Go network to spread the wealth, spread the love, and elevate others, and do it everywhere, in the grocery store, in the gas station, on the street, wherever you go. Just make it happen. Then you don't have to go to these cheesy little networking events with your name tag.
Perfect. All right, Steven. Well, thank you again, and everybody, thanks for interacting on the video. If you weren't able to catch this live, make sure to catch the next one live. It's every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We will be interviewing an amazing veteran entrepreneur doing amazing things, giving actionable steps. And remember, go re-listen to this and take the action steps Steven provided you. Make sure you're implementing what you learn in this show, or it's a waste of your fucking time. All right, guys, I'll see y'all later.